My friend, something unexpected is happening in Buffalo, and it promises to completely change the season's narrative. Even after the NFL trade deadline, new revelations about the Bills' priorities are shocking fans, and a respected analyst has just pointed out a need that almost no one had noticed. And to make matters worse, two important players are out of the next game against the Miami Dolphins, which could directly affect the team's performance. I've managed to gather all the information, behind-the-scenes details, and exclusive analysis for you to understand what's really happening behind the scenes at Orchard Park. But first, if you're a true fan and believe in the power of this roster, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell, because what I'm about to reveal will make you see the Buffalo Bills in a completely different way. After weeks of speculation and high expectations from fans, the Buffalo Bills decided to maintain complete silence on the NFL's 2025 trade deadline. No last-minute moves, no blockbuster signings, nothing. It was a decision that surprised many in the league. Most analysts and fans expected general manager Brandon Beane to seek a true number one receiver, someone who could finally give Josh Allen the reliable target he'd lacked since Stephon Diggs left. However, when the clock hit zero, the Bills were at the same time as the previous day, and that silence was revealed. At first glance, it seemed like a missed opportunity. The offense has been inconsistent in the first half of the season, struggling to generate explosive plays or maintain balance in the passing game. Rookie wide receiver Keon Coleman, once seen as the next big star, has yet to live up to expectations. In 8 games, he managed only 29 receptions for 284 yards and 2 touchdowns, averaging just 9.8 yards per reception. Very low. Below expectations created during the preseason. After an impressive debut in Week 1, Coleman's production dropped, and the chemistry with Josh Allen didn't develop as the team hoped. But according to Brad Gagnon of Bleacher Report, the Bills' biggest problem isn't exactly at the wide receiver position. In fact, the issue may be deeper, literally. Gagnon believes the inside line is the team's biggest concern for 2026. Fans and the media will focus on the wide receiver position, Gagnon wrote. But Buffalo has more talent there than people realize. What's crucial is maintaining a solid offensive line, especially at center and guard, so that Allen and the offense can continue to operate at a high level. It's a pertinent observation, and one that resonates with anyone who has followed the Bills closely this season. Josh Allen's superhuman ability to extend plays has often masked serious protection issues on the experimental line. Countless times he's had to improvise, absorb impacts, and create magical touches from chaos. But even a player of his caliber has limits. The Bills' offensive line, while functional, hasn't demonstrated the consistency needed to dominate the trenches. And with Connor McGovern and David Edwards slated to become free agents, Buffalo may soon find themselves with significant gaps at the very core of their offense. Losing either of these veterans would be a major setback. McGovern, in particular, has been a stabilizing force at center, a crucial position for Allen's rhythm and decision-making. Meanwhile, Edwards' ability to handle inside pressure is a key factor, has helped the Bills maintain balance against aggressive defensive lines. Without them, Allen's protection could crumble, exposing him to even more pressure and forcing the offense into a one-dimensional style of play. Still, Gagnon hasn't ruled out the need for more firepower at the receiver position. Far from it. He acknowledges that Buffalo has good talent, but not necessarily genius. Players like Khalil Shakir have stood out, showing flashes of brilliance, but there's still no one who can truly dominate a game. That's what the Bills have lacked since Diggs left. A dominant receiver who draws double teams, styles the field, and opens up space for everyone else. But while analysts talk about the future, the Bills' present brings another kind of concern. Because even before thinking about 2026, Sean McDermott already has 2 important names out of the hottest game of the week. Just when it seemed the Buffalo Bills were starting to find their rhythm again after a big win over the Kansas City Chiefs, reality hit hard. Coach Sean McDermott released worrying news ahead of Sunday's crucial Week 10 divisional matchup against the Miami Dolphins. 2 key defensive players are officially out, and several others are on thin ice. For a team looking to solidify its playoff spot, this couldn't have come at a worse time. The Bills will head to Miami without A.J. Epinesa and Shaq Thompson, 2 of the most important players on their defense. Epinesa, one of the team's leading pass rushers, entered concussion protocol after a section in last week's game and has not yet been cleared to return. His absence will be felt. The former second-round draft pick has quietly become one of Buffalo's most efficient players, leading all Bills defensive linemen with an impressive impressive 19.2% quarterback pressure rate. His explosiveness down the flanks and the ability to tackle the opposing quarterback were essential to the team's defensive success in 2025. Without Epinesa, rookie Landon Jackson could assume a much larger role. Jackson, a raw but explosive end defender, was drafted for his speed and athleticism, characteristics that could make a difference against Miami's fast-paced offense. However, going from limited opportunities to facing Tua Tagovailoa and Tyreek Hill in his first real test is extremely difficult. The Bills will need to rotate their roster, rely on their reserve team, and hope that defensive coordinator Leslie Frazier can create creative pressing strategies to compensate for Epinesa's absence. In addition, Shaq Thompson also sat out Sunday's game due to a persistent hamstring injury. Thompson, signed in the preseason to bring leadership and experience to the linebacker group, has been a consistent and stable presence in the middle of the field. His ability to read plays, close running routes, and communicate with the secondary made him an invaluable player, especially during Matt Milano's absence early in the season. Now, with Thompson out, Milano and Terrell Bernard will need to take on even more responsibility to maintain an organized defense against one of the loudest offenses in American football. But injury concerns don't stop there. McDermott confirmed that 4 other key players, Daquan Jones, Joshua Palmer, Christian Benford, and Taron Johnson, are questionable for Sunday's game. Each of these names represents a fundamental piece of the Buffalo puzzle. Daquan Jones, a pillar of the Bills' interior defensive line, has already missed 3 straight games due to a calf injury. His strength and control of space are irreplaceable in containing the running game. And against Miami's balanced offense, which features Raheem Mostert and Devon Achane, this absence could be a nightmare. On offense, Joshua Palmer, who has been dealing with knee and ankle injuries, continues to have limited participation in practice. He missed 2 straight games and is still far from 100%, leaving the receiving core more depleted than ideal. This puts even more pressure on Khalil Shakir and Keon Coleman to step up and provide reliable options for Allen. The second defense isn't spared either. Taron Johnson, the team's excellent cornerback, missed last week's game due to a groin injury but managed limited practice this week. His return would be crucial. The Dolphins' offense relies on quick passes and pre-snap movements, areas where Johnson's instinct and tackles are fundamental. Meanwhile, Christian Benford, who has quietly become one of Buffalo's most consistent outside cornerbacks, suffered a groin injury midweek and has had his participation reduced from limited to no practice. If Benford doesn't play, it could leave the Bills dangerously short-handed against Miami's fast receivers. To complicate matters further, the injury situation has forced the coaching staff to make difficult roster decisions. With the Bills facing growing injury concerns, persistent line-of-sight issues, and uncertainty about finding a true number 1 receiver, do you believe Buffalo has enough depth and leadership to remain competitive in the AFC race? Or will these problems finally catch up with Josh Allen and time in the final stretch of the season? Leave your opinion here. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. I'll be back later to update you with the latest Buffalo Bills news.